my fingertips were made to touch your skin. Days only last for a minute. I never questioned why, I always knew you were mine. Loving you is in my DNA. Yeah, loving you is the only way. Yeah, loving you is in my DNA. Yeah, loving you is in my DNA. Feel like I hear your voice so clear above the noise. As you promised me that I was more than all the miles combined, you must have had yourself a change of heart like halfway through the drive, because your voice trailed off exactly as you passed my exit sign. Kept on driving straight and left our future to the right. Now I am stuck between my anger and the blame that I can't face, and memories or something even smoking weed does not replace. And I am terrified of weather, cause I see you when it rains. Doc told me to travel, but there's COVID on the planes. And I love Vermont, but it's the season of the sticks. And I saw your mom, she forgot that I existed. And it's half my fault, but I just like to play the victim. I'll drink alcohol till my friends come home for Christmas, and I'll dream each night of some version of you that I might not have, but I did not lose. Now your tire tracks in one pair of shoes, and I'm split in half, but that'll have to do. So I thought that if I piled something good and all my bad, that I could cancel out the darkness I inherited from Dad. No, I am no longer funny, cause I miss the way you laugh. You once called me forever, now you still can't call me back. And I love Vermont, but it's the season of the sticks. And I saw your mom, she forgot that I existed. And it's half my fault, but I just like to play the victim. I'll drink alcohol till my friends come home for Christmas, and I'll dream each night of some version of you that I might not have, but I did not lose. Now your tire tracks in one pair of
Stephen O'Donnell leading out his side alongside Jimmy McGrew, but we can look at the Coleraine lineup first. Oran Kearney starting to welcome back some names that are used to lining up. The likes of Keane is coming back from injury. Stephen Lowry makes a rare start as well. Glacken comes in once again. Shelvin needs to find goals after 8 without one. McGonagall's got 2 in his last 2 and is alongside Ken McKendry in a front 3. No Chris Johns for Linfield. He's played the last 75 league matches for David Healy's side, but in comes David Walsh. He hasn't lined out in the league in 16 months. Apart from that, it's a reasonably settled side for Healy. McBride is given an opportunity alongside McKee and Miller. And there's Oran Kearney saluting the crowd. And right on cue, we're about to get underway. There is a match referee, Jamie Robinson. Kyle McLean ready. Quite a few milestones this evening. Conor McKendry making his 100th appearance for Coleraine.
Whenever the referee blows his whistle, be loud, be quiet.
As we await the whistle, there was a short delay beforehand, but I think it fooled the players as well, and it's going to be a retake. And eventually we are going to get underway. I mentioned some of those milestones. It's Jamie Glacken's birthday today. He also makes his 200th appearance for the club. 100 up for Conor McKendry. And Lyndon Keane celebrated his 27th birthday yesterday. Early opportunity for McKee to try and get on the ball. And a throw in for Linfield. David Healy's side have failed to pick up a victory in their last 2 matches. They've been ahead in both of those games against Dungannon Swifts and Glenavon as well. Just 1 point from a possible 6, and they're going to look for a fast start here at the showgrounds. Mulgrew has a pop from just outside the box. Another opportunity to threaten in the middle. It was McBride who saw the ball bounce off his hand, and the referee decides to award a free kick. Big crowd in for this one, Matthew. And when you look at the two teams, Coleraine need a win or need something positive to happen after the run of results that they've had. And from Linfield's perspective, it's an opportunity to go back on top of the league.
And that's what they'll want, won't they? Linfield are coming up here, looking at Coleraine. I was looking at the stats earlier, and I think it's 2 wins out of 15 for them, you know, and that's not good enough. Oran will know that. But you mentioned it in the build-up, you know, they're getting players back. Stephen Lowry, a big player coming back in for them. And obviously we were chatting off air, you know, thinking they would probably go 4-3-3, but they look like they've gone a 4-4-2 with McGonigal and Shevlin up front. And it should give Linfield something more to think about in terms of going forward with the two of them to occupy the centre house. But the problem would be with Jamie Mulgrew and Chris Shields and Kyle McLean in the middle, they might overrun them in that way, and then that'll obviously turn into more pressure for Coleraine.
A lot's been spoken about the run that Coleraine have been on, but the injuries that they've suffered, how big a boost could it be for the rest of the season to have some of those players back? A couple of them maybe not involved this evening, like Josh Carson as well, who's a big figure in the club. He's been missing for long periods. O'Donnell's been out as well. We've mentioned some of the others as well. There's been no degree of cohesion about this Coleraine side because it's been a case of the bare bones at times for Oran Kearney.
Yeah, and I think people forget that sometimes. You know, they look at just at results. They don't understand, you know, the things that Oran's having to deal with, like you say, with the amount of injuries. And they're not, you know, these are big players for them. Conor McHenry started off the season on fire, and I think he was then carrying a niggle. He's not really, you know, he's not really fired for the last 2 months. Matthew Shevlin was out for a good while. He's only back in. I know you mentioned, I don't think he'd scored even prior to his injury, but he was carrying that knock, needed it out. What Oran will be wanting now is obviously to get these players back in the team and hit a run of form from now till the end of the season, because the top 6 is still doable. We all know it's a massive bonus to get into the top 6. So that's what he'll be hoping for. He'll be hoping these lads get fit quickly, get back into the starting lineup, and they start picking up the results quickly as well.
Lowry finds Jarvis. Now back to Scott, one of the arrivals in January. McKendry was trying to turn, but Shields was right on top of him. Here is Scott. Started the season, of course, with Linfield.
You know, I have to tip my hat to you, Thomas, because I genuinely thought he would start right back, and you seem to think, you know, he would play midfield. You know, I've known Jack a long time, coming through as a youth player, and he never really played in the middle of the pitch then. He's predominantly played off the right-hand side, you know, even further forward at times. But, you know, we've only been going a couple of minutes, but he looked fairly comfortable. He wants to get on the ball in the middle of the pitch.
He came in towards the end of the window, played the cup game against Cliftonville in that slightly more advanced role, and I mentioned those injury problems. It was a case of maybe trying to slot him in there and get him minutes. He'd been out of the game for quite a while at that stage, and it has been an issue for a number of managers. Stephen Baxter has had issues at Crusaders with injuries, losing players like Rory McKeown and Jimmy Callagher for long periods of the season. Quite a few others as well on the treatment bench, and then you get Linfield and David Healy having to cope without a couple. But it's also provided opportunities. McKee trying to get turned, doesn't quite manage it. He's forced.
He's done very well there
towards the corner flag, and has managed to win a free kick in the process. I think Graham Kelly will probably feel that was a needless tackle to make in that situation.
You know, you're talking about injuries there, and Linfield have had as many as any club in the league.
Stephen Fallon, Joel Cooper. You look at some of the players that are sitting in their tracksuits just outside the change room. The quality that
Chris
they've been
Shields
missing.
was out for a while, but they dropped in young lads to play, and they all stood up to be counted. You know, you can remember in the League Cup they played at Lan, and it seemed like it was a pretty much under-20s team, and they went through that, and you know, and now they hopefully will reap the benefit of that going forward as well.
2 standing over it. It is Miller with the right foot, and it was a Linfield player who got his head on it. McKee initially took a tumble in there, and it was the player following up. I think it may well have been Darren McBride, but we'll look back at it in a moment. McBride has a go and, well, apologises straight away, realising it was a wrong option.
I think he'd be disappointed here. He scored from a similar position last week. It's good defending as well, though, isn't it? He was really tight on him, but I think once you've got in front of him there, he's got to really hit the target.
Yeah, 2 players you wouldn't necessarily think of in terms of a set piece, and Lyndon Kane and Darren McBride battling it out. McBride has been used off the bench for the majority of the season, but given a rare start by David Healy tonight. Drifts over the head of a couple of players. Shevlin and McGonigal in that pairing up front. An imposing pairing if they can find form. final efforts and goals so far. Sheets. As Matthew mentioned, he's come off the bench the last couple of games, and Lyndon Kane certainly felt the full force of that one. Two players looking at the ball, and Lyndon Kane certainly came off worse. It's McBrien again, battling with Kane. I mentioned it was his birthday yesterday. Over 300 appearances for the club. Tough player. Just making sure he's okay. And there will be obviously the concussion protocols as well that every single medical team will go through. Coleraine have lost 8 of their last 9 matches. Only 3 teams in the league have conceded more. David Healy's side have the best away record in the league. 32 points from 14 games. Ominous signs for the home supporters, and looks like Lyndon is going to be okay. It's interesting, the last couple of weeks, Cliftonville and Larne have maybe had the Friday night games and have been able to put the pressure, if you like, on Linfield, playing 3 o'clock on a Saturday. It's a different position that Linfield find themselves in tonight, that if they can manage to get the win here, go back to the top of the league, then just puts that little bit more pressure on Larne and Cliftonville tomorrow.
Certainly does. It's psychologically, you know, I always feel if you go first and you win that game, it does put pressure, you know, on the chasing pack. And I'm sure Linfield, you know, whilst there'll not be no big dramas yet, you know, they'll be disappointed with the last 2 results, and they'll be looking to put that right today.
Kelly concedes a throw-in. Chris Shields is going to come off for this one. Cross is cut out by Scott. Stephen Lowry, of course, who had a spell at Windsor Park. Just his 3rd start of the season. He's had his injury problems as well. 27 goals in his 160 games with the South Belfast club. Here's Kelly. Won the league, of course, with Larne. Glackett to Kane. Plenty of targets in the middle for Coleraine to aim at. Instead, they shifted across to the left-hand side. Glackett right in front of the referee. Goes down. It didn't look like there was a huge amount in the challenge from Chris Shields, but tellingly he doesn't complain about it, and it's given Coleraine a free kick in a good position. Taken in towards McGonigal. The touch was a poor one. Linfield caught napping there and were almost caught out in the process. It was Shevlin actually. Just lifted over the top, and East was tracking him but couldn't get there ahead of the striker.
You'd expect, Matthew, if he was on fire like he was last year, you know, 20+ goals, that touch would be certain, and it's a chance of a goal, because it was, like you say, Linfield was sleeping. It was good quick play from Coleraine, and he'd be disappointed.
Delivery from Miller, collected by Brown, who bowls it out straight away to McKendry, and you hear the excitement amongst the home supporters. He gets on the ball in that kind of position. Might have a pop himself, McKendry. Forced it a little bit.
But it was a good quick counter-attack, and I think that's what, you know, certainly the Coleraine fans, you could hear the atmosphere lifting when he picked up the ball. You know, he's excited, he wants to get at people, he wants to shift it onto his left foot inside. He probably drifted a bit too far wide to get that shot off. But if he can pick up them positions, you know, in the middle of the goal, 20, 25 yards out, he's a threat.
Little nibble from Chris Shields there.
And I think, you know, while I said about them playing 4-4-2, with him and Jamie Glackin playing, they both tend to come inside, and sometimes that'll actually overload on the other way. When they've got the ball, it'll create a 4v3 in there for them, and it'll, for the Linfield wide players in Kirk Miller and Darren McBean, it'll give them something to think about going backwards, and also then the fullbacks, do they tuck in with them and leave space down the sides?
Certainly asks the question, doesn't it, with the likes of Jarvis and Kane?
Because they want to get forward, the both of them.
Miller's forced backwards. And here's East, who's very much made that position his own in this Linfield side, alongside Finlayson. No Ben Hall this evening for David Healy's men. Miller. Glackin back defending. Miller tries to just thread it through to McKee, but it's watched all the way by Kelly. It's 3 years since Linfield last went 3 matches without a win. That shows you just how consistent they've been. Mentioned those couple of results before tonight. And the form of the top 3 in general has been staggering. It was almost a case of who's going to blink first, because week after week, Cliftonville, Larne and Linfield all seem to be picking up 3 points in different ways, no matter the level of performance. And I suppose the one little chink in the armour was that victory of Dungannon Swifts at Linfield a couple of weeks ago. Open things up further. 3 points between the top 3 right now.
It makes for a good run-in, doesn't it, for us and the neutrals?
The split certainly comes into its own in a situation like that.
It will.
I think it's Cliftonville Larne just before the split as well. So
very good. And obviously I don't know how the fixtures will fall, but it's the stage now where teams looking how many home games will they have during the split, and them things are massively important. You know, when you're at that end of the table, you'll obviously want in 3 or 4 home games, which often happens.
Bumper game coming up on Tuesday. Cliftonville against Linfield live in the BBC iPlayer from Solitude. After that, in the league, Linfield will play Ballymena United. Then it's Portadown in the League Cup final. Newry City and Carrick Rangers. Shields. Again looking for the run of McGee, who also loves pushing up from the back. This comes, oh sorry, it was McLean, sorry. He's playing a slightly different role this evening. Not this evening, sorry, this season in general. Kyle McLean, slightly more advanced than the sitting role we've witnessed him play in the last couple of years. Is that a case of David Healy making sure he accommodates him in a side that maybe also includes likes of Chris Shields and Jamie Mulgrew amongst others?
It looks that way. You know, I think he's a very good player, and his assist record this year is far high, and he's obviously scoring as well. And
7 goals.
7, you know, from midfield at this stage is still a good return. And when you've got Jamie and Chris Shields, you kind of want them all in the team. And Stephen Fallon, like you say, has been out injured for a good period of this season. So, you know, they've had to look for that third body. I know they've tried Kirk Miller in there, you know, in a central role a little bit more. But I think
you probably lose something though from Miller in that position.
I think so. You know, with both him and Joel Cooper, when they go in there, you do lose that.
Well, there's a yellow here. It's right in front of the Coleraine supporters. Our view was blocked, as you can probably see with all of those heads. But the referee blew his whistle straight away. What do you think?
You're going to say he's won the ball, but it's the scissor tackle, isn't it? The fault, the trailing leg is trapped. You know, it's trapped Kyle McLean's leg underneath.
Here's McKee. Pulls it back for McBride. Mulgrew. The Shields. And it's blazed over the top.
He'll be disappointed to miss the target there. Chris McKay, it's a great ball from Chris Shields. Splits the defence wide open, and he's got a good turn on it. You know, he gets it out his feet, and he's got to really hit the target. Sorry, I think it was Ethan McGee, not Chris.
Yeah, Ethan McGee.
Chris will be even more disappointed that I said it was Ethan McGee.
Well, first of all, it's very difficult from our vantage point to actually make out some of the numbers and some of the Linfield players in that red shirt. But also, positionally, it does look like McGee has been given a degree of freedom. He's not playing as an out-and-out right back, an old-school right back, that you'd usually see in a 4.
No. You know, he's really getting high, and I suppose with Kirk Miller there, intelligent footballer, works ever so hard. He can do that because he knows Kirk will sometimes drift inside to leave that space.
Glacken takes a big deflection, and Walsh is going to manage to keep it in play. A lot of space, though, given to Jamie Glacken. Too easy from Linfield's point of view. East. And the one thing that will have concerned David Healy over the past number of weeks is that the other title challengers, Larne and Cliftonville, have conceded far fewer goals than them. I think Cliftonville have conceded 16, Larne 18, and it's 30 to Linfield. It's not really what you expect from a David Healy side over the past number of years. Mulgrew plays it across to Shields. That little darting run we're used to seeing. Wins it back, and it's going to get another chance. Clark tries to stand it up, and it's collected by Rory Brown.
I think Matthew Clark will be disappointed that he's got more quality than that. You know, Chris Shields has done ever so well to break forward, played a pass, got intercepted, regained it, and he's given him plenty of opportunity to put a good ball in. You know, really it's easy pickings for the goalkeeper there.
Well, Rory Brown has already conceded 6 goals against Linfield this season, during his time with Glenavon, of course. Scott. McGonigal makes a run and acknowledges a pass as well. We know just how lively he is likely to be.
Two of them are both willing runners in behind as well, so it always gives defenders something to think about when centre forwards want to run in behind.
Shields. And the flag is up on the far side, and well, there were probably question marks over how fit Chris Shields was, given the fact that he's only been used as a substitute the last couple of weeks. But he started this game like an Energizer bunny. He's been everywhere, and maybe he's also sent a message, David Healy, to say, look, I'm ready and raring to go for this title run in.
I always think, you know, you have players and coming back, and yes, you have to protect them and you want to give them minutes, but I always feel, from a player's point of view now, you'd rather start the game and blow yourself up after an hour and then go, rather than coming on with half an hour to go, because you don't know how you're going to influence the game. He's influencing the game now from the start, and if he isn't fit enough to last the 90 minutes, he'll hope that when he comes up, and I'm sure Dave will be feeling the same, that he's had a big, major impact on the game to help them obviously get the 3 points.
And is that even more so the case at this time of the season, when it's not like it's the start of a campaign and you're still finding your feet? You know, you're right in the mix right now.
That's it. Look, you haven't really got the time now at this stage of the season. You haven't got the time to bed in. You've really got to, you know, every game you've got to hit it running.
Here's McBride. East just dips the shoulder. Finlayson and East 22 and 23. Between them, I think they've missed 3 games of the last 28 or 29. Here's Shields. Has support from McBride. Is he going to cut inside in his right foot? Low effort, and well, the goalkeeper was skirting across, but it didn't really have the required power from Darren McBride. Missed all of last season through injury at Dungannon Swifts, and he's certainly finding his feet now. with Linfield.
He's very sharp when he comes in there. You know, he only really needs to drop the shoulder for half a yard to get that shot off. And that's a problem for Coleraine, because as much as you'd think, right, let's show him on the inside to our strength, you know, to other bodies, he's that sharp and that quick. He's managing to get a shot off. You know, that's 2 or 3 that he's had already.
He's got to be up there with the quickest players in the league. Here's McLean, had a little glance up, and there weren't any options in the middle, and that delay meant that the defender could get back and dispossess him.
Because McLean made that run in that wider area, he's done ever so well. But then you're only left with Chris McKee. You know, Jamie Mulgrew and Chris Shields, you know, they're not known for that anymore in their game. You know, they're not looking to make the late run in. So, like you said, it's a lack of option then for him to get the crossing where he's got his head up and he wants to sling it in.
Is that what you lack when you don't have Matthew Fitzpatrick on the team? That kind of focal, that out-and-out striker?
Well,
who wants to be making the run in towards the 6-yard box? You
know, Chris McKee was in there, and I suppose if I was coaching, or even if I was playing centre forward, I would just say sling it in anyway.
Yeah.
Put it in, it don't matter one, he only takes one to score a goal. Midfielders are a little bit less adventurous than strikers. They think about keeping the ball. But with Matthew Fitzpatrick, obviously he has the physical attributes, but I think, being honest, I think Chris McKee's a better goal scorer than him. You know, he's a more natural goal scorer, should I say. He wants to be in and around, you know, getting the goals and the tap-ins. And if you're playing a 4-3-3, only one of them can play. Obviously, Matthew's he's on the bench today, and I'm sure he'll be chomping at the bit to get on.
McLean, slightly deeper. McGee cuts inside. McGee does very well to squeeze it out to McGee. I think he was also caught in the process. And here's Mulgrew, 2 in the middle. Just slipped as he tried to cross it in, but still manages to win the corner kick.
And the difference is, with Jamie going wide, it enabled Cal McLean to get in the box alongside Darren McBreen, Chris McKee. Sorry, Thomas, I was going to say, it's very brave of Jamie Glacken to stick his chest out to get that out of play rather than head it. You know, a slight brush of wind and it comes off his arm. It's a penalty.
Yeah, I was going to say, it kind of... it's a risky play, but in the end it was a corner kick, and there's going to be another one now after it's headed over the top by Stephen O'Donnell. Yeah, coaches are probably saying don't take any chances at all in a scenario like that. It's his birthday, though. Well, couldn't give a penalty against him on his birthday.
I would have never got anything on my birthday, 29th of June. No football played.
Miller getting ready, but the referee has a word with a couple of players in the middle, making sure there's nothing untoward happening. Here it comes again, that beats everyone. Hasn't been a classic 25 minutes, has it?
Not at all.
Does that suit Coleraine, given the run they're on?
Certainly, you know, I think...
Or is it reflective of the way that Linfield are playing at the moment?
I think if you know, any team on the run that Coleraine have got with Linfield coming up here, you'll be just saying keep them as quiet for as long as possible. And let us build our way into the game. Even though they're at home, let us build our way into the game. Let's be solid, let's be compact, and you know, give nothing away early, and then we'll see how the second half pans out.
Well, that's a key point, because I've just got 1 clean sheet in their last 14 matches. I mentioned only 3 sides have conceded more goals than them. So the first target, if you like, for Owen Kearney was probably keep it tight for 20. And let's just settle into a system, and let's look more solid than we have done over the past couple of months.
See, with the 2 strikers there, then you always have that threat on the counter-attack, because the goal-scoring record hasn't been as good as they would like either over the course of this season. So first and foremost, yes, certainly, even though they're at home, it'll be a case of, look, let's just be solid and shut up shop, and we'll see where it takes us. And if it is on the counter-attack, so be it.
Have you been surprised by the fact it's been such a long run, given the quality they have in the squad? I mean, we've mentioned injuries, but there's still plenty of players who would be deemed top 6 players, and they just haven't been able to get that catalyst. They had the one victory, but you know, it just hasn't been happening for them.
Not at all. And look, obviously, you look at, you know, I'm here, I'm watching games every week. Every time they made a mistake, they were conceding, or they've been conceding a goal, you know, and silly mistakes. I was actually watching them last Saturday. They were playing Cliftonville and they got back in, you know. But the first goal, ball back to Rory Brown, he's comfortable with his feet, he slips, and it's a tap in, you know. And when you're on a bad run like what they're on, them things are happening. It happened at Glentoran. It was a back pass to him, and he overrun one.
Yeah, the David Fisher goal, first one.
I think somebody went to play a back pass or to clear one, and ricocheted, and they went through, you know. It was straight after half-time, the 2 down, they're disappointed, another goal. And that seems to have been a recurring theme. Every mistake they've made has led to goals for the opposition.
And is that when the heads go down in the dressing room?
Because
and you maybe need the likes of a Stephen Lowry to come in and galvanise things and calm it down and say, right, we can get out of this.
Let's just put our foot on the ball here for 2 minutes, right, and we'll get ourselves back in the game instead of going bang and then conceding another one quickly after it. You know, they look comfortable, don't they? They don't look like a team that's only won, you know, these games 1 or 2 in 15.
The worrying thing, though, was they probably looked this way against Cliftonville in the Cup, and then they concede 1, and all of a sudden everything goes wrong, and suddenly Ronan Hill has a hat-trick.
You know, they'll probably be looking at this. You know, I can only speak from experience and knowing. We'll just take the game in 15-minute blocks today. Look, let's just, you know, don't concede early, and then we'll take it from there, and then we'll get. Now they'll be looking, right, what can we do from now until half-time?
McGee looks for the run of McKee, headed away by Keane, only as far as McBride. Options outside him, and Clark driven in low, but easily dealt with by the player we were just talking about a moment ago, Stephen Lowry. Mulgrew. To McLean, pushes it out to Kirk Miller. Delivery's a good one. McBride made superb contact, and he can't quite believe that didn't go in, because Rory Brown was only a couple of feet away from McBride. Anywhere else, rather than down the goalkeeper's throat, and Linfield were going to go 1 up, but Rory Brown
from that close
happened to be there, and it bounces into his hands, and those are maybe the things that a couple of weeks ago weren't going their way.
You look at it from Darren McBreen's point of view. He's made a good run. He's made good connection. You know, it's point blank. He's 3 yards out. He's probably just thinking, I just need to connect to this, and it's a goal. And it's good feet from Conor McHenry. You know, that will give them a boost. Of course it will, because that's a stonewall goal, isn't it?
Yeah.
Let's be honest. You know, if they were 2 down there, that goes in, because everything's going against you. Where today, you know, hopefully for Rory Brown, it kickstarts him, because he's not had a great start since coming from Glenavon. You know, these things happen to players. He's gone there thinking, right, I'm going to be playing every week. I'm a little bit more local to home and whatever else. And he seems to have come in and they've hit a real bad patch of form. I'm not putting any blame on him, of course. I'm just stating the fact of how it's been. And he needs a couple of saves.
Well, that was a good one.
Yep.
I'm not sure he knew a huge amount about it, but
sure, goalkeepers don't think too much.
The words of Matthew Tipton, former Irish League striker. McBride felt that should have been a throw into Linfield.
And I actually agree with him. I think he wins the ball and it comes off Lyndon Kane's foot before it goes out of play. Conor McHenry's foot. Hard to tell from that angle, isn't it? That'll be my excuse.
Half an hour played. McBride just 22 years old, 4 goals this season at Linfield. Burst onto the scene with Ballymallard on their run to the Irish Cup final a number of years ago. Then made the switch to the Gannon Swifts. And our cameraman has just been hit with the ball. Nice touch, Phil. Supporters certainly enjoyed that.
They're struggling to get the ball back.
Yeah, there he is, yeah. Hopefully we'll get a replay of that touch. I'm not sure if I quite caught it there, but Phil actually went viral a couple of years ago during the Euros. He was the person who who filmed the Republic of Ireland fans and the French police saying "Stand up for the boys in green," and the police shouting back over the tannoy, "Go home for the French police," and he filmed it, and his video went viral. So that could have been another one if he'd managed to break the camera there. But we'll have a look and see if we've got it. No, sorry, the bank balance isn't going to be benefiting Phil.
So there's no benefit in going viral. I'm more famous for getting hit in the face with an umbrella a number of times on the BBC than for anything else.
That's right, yeah. Mark Sidebottom had an ongoing feud with you during that Ballymena United match against Linfield a number of years ago. Hasn't lived it down since.
Certainly not. You get sent
Your
to me every
eyesight
year.
has not been the same since.
I maybe need to get some glasses, charge them to the BBC.
McGee forced backwards and still managed to find Shields. McGee looks very comfortable in this Linfield lineup, it has to be said. He slotted in really well. Another player who made the switch from the Gannon Swifts. He's involved with the Northern Ireland under-21s in the last camp as well. Booming left boot of Rory Brown. Scott clipped it inside, but straight to Mulgrew. Also telling that David Healy's plumped for Mulgrew and Shields for a game that many would deem must win. McKee plays it first time to Clark, who just waits for support. Here is the captain. Looking for the run of Clark, who was attempting to squeeze between a couple of Coleraine defenders. He wasn't picked up initially, and it was Rory Brown in the end who came out to collect. If he plays on Tuesday night, it'll be a milestone for Matthew Clark. His 400th game with Linfield. His testimonial season this year. Little flick from McKee again to McLean. Still McLean. Flashes it wide, and well, we made the point earlier. He wasn't making those runs last season.
No, and he's driving. He's even, you know, he's carrying the ball. He's not just making a forward run off, you know, and trying to get into the box from a wide area, from a cross or whatever. He's run off Chris McKee, then he's driving them with the ball, and it's hard to stop. You know, you think he's probably learning off nobody better in the centre midfield. His captain, in Jamie Mulgrew. He's done that for 15 years in this midfield for Linfield. You know, he's passed the baton now to Kyle, and you know, that looked good, that run there. He's powerful. He's hard to stop when he gets going like that.
He's played more minutes than any other outfield player for Linfield. Surpassed 150 appearances against Glenavon last week. McKee has been a real handful.
He was unlucky there, wasn't he? You know, he's rested with Graham Kelly, managed to get old and just lost his footing.
But his link-up play's been really good so far. So going into tonight's game, Lauren on 67 points, Linfield 66, and Cliftonville on 64. Cliftonville welcoming Glenavon to Solitude tomorrow. Lauren away to Ballymena United. You can, of course, stay across all of the games in Sports Sound from 2 o'clock on BBC Sounds and also on BBC Radio Ulster, and the best of the action will be on the BBC Sport Northern Ireland website with full text commentary as well, and the goals as they go in. McBride, nice turn. This is when he's really dangerous, running at the opposition events. A crunching tackle between Keane and Clark.
No quarter given there, was it, for the two lads, two fullbacks? You know, good stalwart to the Irish League, both 10 years. I know Matthew's a little bit older than Lyndon, but you know, they've been up and down against each other all the days, and some tackle, but I think, you know, Linfield will be disappointed. Darren McBreen's done brilliantly, and, you know, he had time to give a better pass than that.
And a little bit like McKendry, he's got that injection of pace, and you simply can't leave him one-on-one. Good tackle to dispossess Shields, and Glacken takes off. Has players left and right, and the pass was intended for McKendry, who was on his shoulder, not further forward. And, well, if it was a let-off at the other end, that would fall into that category for Coleraine too.
He'd be disappointed that he's tremendous quality, Jamie Glacken, but I think he was wanting Conor McKendry to really push forward so he could play it to, you know, into his path. Conor stopped, and obviously Jamie still played that pass. You know, Conor wanted it to feed, probably to come back on the inside.
It's a good position for Coleraine to be in, though. Yeah. Numbers in the middle too. It's really starting to open up in the last couple of minutes. Here's McGee outside to Miller, and McLean's alongside McKee. McBrien arriving also. One back by Glacken, and it's another chance for Coleraine to mount something on the counter-attack. And now it's McGonigal who wanted it inside, not outside, and little bits of frustration for Coleraine players over the past couple of minutes.
You know, I'm not sure what he was pointing inside for the pass. Yeah, it was making a run outside. So after the pass, then he decided that he wanted it on the inside. But, you know, his initial movement was showing Jack Scott where he wanted the ball, which was, you know, wide.
No, it's East who brings it forward with real purpose. Another chance for Miller. Looping ball, and Kane watches it all the way. Just a few signs that both sides are starting to find their rhythm, but in the final third it hasn't quite happened for Oran Kearney's side or David Healy so far. I suppose the one standout chance was that McBrien effort that was stopped by Brown. David Healy having a little glance at his watch.
Looks like he's arguing with his own watch there, doesn't
and there's a birthday boy there. 59 yesterday. Gary Eccles, a long-standing kickman. He's looked at his watch about 6 times there in the last 20 seconds. I don't think it changes that rapidly. Glacken. Shevlin turned right into Shields, and Jimmy McGrew slowly makes his way onto his feet. Linfield's second top scorers in the league, 2 behind Cliftonville. Here's McLean. And East finds Clark. It's been very patient from Linfield's point of view. Five minutes to go to half-time. Coleraine haven't beaten Linfield in the last 8 matches. They've failed to score in 5 of the last 7. Really struggled against tonight's opposition. Glacken. He's picked the ball up 3 or 4 times in that area of the pitch. Can he make this one count? McGonigal lets it run, fools the defender. 3 or 4 make the run in. One of them is McKendry. Falls instead for Glacken, and here is McKendry. Trying to get on that left foot. Instead flicks it in with his right. Keane. Just over the top. We were right behind that one, and it looked all set for Keane effort when it fell to him, but another good passage of play from the home side. Just couldn't keep it down. McLean quickly across to create maybe that little bit of pressure that ensured that was the case.
They're picking up they're picking up good areas on the counter attack. They're defending, you know, Jamie Glack and McKenzie. They're going back, they're doubling up, but then they can travel so quickly forward with the ball, and it's enabling them to get up the field. Good broken field runners, you know, they travel with the ball well. And obviously then the two strikers that are pinning Linfield back as well, so it's enabling them to get up the field on the counter attack.
But for all that, haven't really worked, Walsh.
No, you know, when you think, you know, it's his first game in how long did you say? Well, certainly this season anyway in the league. I know he's played a couple of County Antrim games and possibly...
He hasn't played a league match since October 2022. Now, David Walsh is a goalkeeper that, you know, has a lot of people have glowing recommendations about, and any other club he would be pushing for number one. I think he's pushing for number one at Linfield as well. He's part of the Northern Ireland under-21 setup, but Chris Johns has been so solid, and as I mentioned earlier, he started the last 75 games in the league.
Yeah.
He's played every single minute of this league campaign, so it's very difficult to force your way into that jersey if you're in David Walsh's position. Very talented goalkeeper, though, that, as you say, David Healy's trusted in cup competitions and has done for a number of years.
Yeah, certainly, but you would be in Coleraine shoes, you'd be thinking, could we have got more crosses, or could we get more crossing? Certainly at half-time now, you know, they'll be looking here, right, let's go in at half-time, and I'm sure that'll be the conversation. Can we put him under a bit of pressure? He'll have the Coleraine fans, you know, behind him in terms of position on the field rather than encouraging him.
Lowry to Scott. Keane cuts inside. Glacken again tries to lift it in, but once again, there's nobody there. There's nobody making that run outside.
The thing is, he could see the whole picture there, and it wasn't like there was anybody making that run in. You know, I think he'd have been better served just feeding the ball to a wider player.
McLean. We're about to enter the final minute of this first half. Darren McBride. Support from Clark. Linfield have started to commit players forward, but it's easily cleared by Jarvis. Looks like it's going to be scoreless at the break, unless Linfield can try and make something happen from this piece. It's in a very central position. Two centre halves have stayed back for it. Here is East now. Long way out. Struck it well enough. 3 goals already this season, Ewan East. He's trying to Johnny Addis.
Yeah, he was fairly confident striding forward with the ball. You know, once it left his foot, it was never troubling Rory Brown. But I think that sums up the half, to be honest. For both teams, you know, that's a centre-half having to step in because nothing's really happened in the final third. Certainly Linfield have had a lot of opportunities there, but the crosses have either, you know, have lacked any quality. They've either drifted into keepers' hands or out of play, or when they've put them in a decent area, they haven't backed that up with runners in there. You know, I was
what
just
do you think
thinking,
that is?
I don't know. You know, Kirk Miller, you'd expect the cross came in from Matthew Clark, then Kirk Miller was hanging out wide on the right. You know, you'd expect him to be attacking the back post, and it's you know, he's not the only one. Darren McBride did it. The one, I suppose, the one only opportunity that we've had, or the goalkeepers had to make a save, and that's him getting inside the fullback, inside the back post.
2 minutes of additional time to be played at the end of this first half. Lifted forward for Shevlin, who had that half chance himself, but couldn't get the ball under control from the quick free kick. Clark. Finlayson. No huge amount of urgency, but then the ball is pulled back, and it almost fell for Clark. McKendry reacted first in that position. And again, that probably sums up the opening 45 minutes, where Linfield got themselves in a decent position with the pullback, but there was nobody gambling inside, willing to take that risk. There's going to be a long throw-in coming now from McGee, who's going to use absolutely every inch of this playing surface to hurl it in. McBride on the volley. Struck his own player, I think. And away by Jarvis. Shevlin. Is there time for McGonigal to create something? Ricochets off a couple of players, and that will be the final action of a half where we haven't had any goals. We've had very few chances at the Coleraine Showgrounds. The best of them fell to the visitors, and Darren McBreen, a point-blank stop from Rory Brown. But apart from that, Lyndon Kane and co didn't have too much to celebrate in the opening 45 minutes. Kyle McLean went close on a couple of occasions, but again, didn't really trouble the goalkeeper. Opportunities at a premium. And the half-time score here at the Coleraine Showgrounds. It's Coleraine 0 after the opening 45 minutes. That Darren McBride chance, and Matthew, when you look back at it, it was a golden opportunity from Linfield's perspective, but a really good stop from Rory Brown.
As you promised me that I was more than all the miles combined, you must have had yourself a change of heart like halfway through the drive, because your voice trailed off exactly as you passed my exit sign. Kept on driving straight and left our future to the right. Now I am stuck between my anger and the blame that I can't face, and memories or something even smoking weed does not replace. And I am terrified of weather, cause I see you when it rains. Doc told me to travel, but there's COVID on the planes. And I love Vermont, but it's the season of the sticks. And I saw your mom, she forgot that I existed. And it's half my fault, but I just like to play the victim. I'll drink alcohol till my friends come home for Christmas, and I'll dream each night of some version of you that I might not have, but I did not lose. Now your tired tracks in one pair of shoes, and I'm split in half, but that'll have to do. So I thought that if I piled something good and all my bad, that I could cancel out the darkness I inherited from Dad. No, I am no longer funny, cause I miss the way you laugh. You once called me forever, now you still can't call me back. And I love Vermont, but it's the season of the sticks. And I saw your mom, she forgot that I existed. And it's half my fault, but I just like to play the victim. I'll drink alcohol till my friends come home for Christmas, and I'll dream each night of some version of you that I might not have, but I did not lose. Now your tired tracks in one pair of shoes, and I'm split in half, but that'll have to do. Oh, that'll have to do. My other half was you. I hope this pain's just passing through, but I doubt it. And I love Vermont, but it's the season of the sticks. And I saw your mom, she forgot that I existed. And it's half my fault, but I just like to play the victim. I'll drink alcohol till my friends come home for Christmas, and I'll dream each night of some version of you that I might not have, but I did not lose. Now your tired tracks in one pair of shoes, and I'm split in half, but that'll have to do, have to do.
I'm 2 days into college and I'm 3 lectures behind. There's this guy, let's name him Colin. He says he wants to be mine, but it doesn't really sit with me quite right, cause he doesn't really like the things I like, and I keep accidentally locking myself out of my dorm in the middle of the night. I wake up kinda wired and I wake up kinda cold, and I wake up kinda tired, but I'll just sleep in when I'm old. See, I don't like breaking rules, but don't like doing as I'm told, so I just float around and keep my head down and hope my life unfolds. And everybody's telling me that I'm doing so well. I try to trust them honestly, I find it hard to tell if I need work or I need rest. I try my best, I try my best to tell myself, I say out loud, it's fine, I'll figure it all out. I tend to forget I'm still only quite young. In a way, this life of mine has only just begun. I've got time, I've got time. I'm 2 days into college with a busy, busy mind. That guy that we named Colin, he's so handsome, he's so kind. My friends tell me I'm crazy, say I'll take it way too far, cause I told him that it's over, cause he doesn't play guitar. I'm only 2 days into college and my bedroom is a mess. There's just so much that I want to do that I have not done yet. There's just so much that I want to say in far too little breath. Oh, my mind, it runs so far away, it's easy to forget that to everybody else it looks like I'm doing so well. I try to see it honestly, I find it hard to tell if I've done wrong or I've done right. I need a good night's sleep tonight. They said go out, I said alright. I think I won't, I maybe might. I probably should just take it slow. I'll be all good, but God, I know the one thing that's important above everything else is to learn not to put all this heavy pressure on myself. I try believe it when I say if it's meant to happen, it'll happen anyway. I'll be fine. I've got time, I've got time. That's where I'm at, to be honest. Just 2 days, 2 days into college. like a small boat on the ocean, sending big waves into motion, like how a single word can make a heart open. I might only have one match, but I can make an explosion. And all those things I didn't say were wrecking balls inside my brain. I will scream loud tonight. Can you hear my voice this time? This is my fight song. Take back my life song. Prove I'm alright song. My power's turned on. Starting right now. I'll be strong. I'll play my fight song. And I don't really care if nobody else believes, 'cause I've still got a lot of fight left in me. Losing friends and I'm chasing sleep. Everybody's worried about me. In too deep. I say I'm in too deep. And it's been 2 years, I miss my home, but there's a fire burning in my bones. Still believe, yeah, I still believe. And all those things I didn't say were wrecking balls inside my brain. I will scream loud tonight. Can you hear my voice this time? This is my fight song. Take back my life song. Prove I'm alright song. My power's turned on. Starting right now. I'll be strong. I'll play my fight song. And I don't really care if nobody else believes, 'cause I've still got a lot of fight left in me. A lot of fight left in me. Like a small boat on the ocean, sending big waves into motion, like how a single word can make a heart open. I might only have one match, but I can make an explosion. This is my fight song. Take back my life song. Prove I'm alright song. My power's turned on. Starting right now. I'll be strong. I'll play my fight song. And I don't really care if nobody else
Be encouraged.
believes, 'cause I've still
Something
got
that I've
a
actually
lot of
asked
fight
for,
left in
certainly since I was a manager, because I think the more communication we can have with referees, what they're saying, why we're seeing what we see. You know, I invited referees into training sessions loads of times during my course as a manager, because I felt, not because I want to buddy up with them or I want them to be friends with the players or the players to be friends with them. Sometimes, you know, if they're there, they can see what players are saying.
Number of flares behind the Linfield goal. Obviously, pyrotechnics have been a real issue in local football over the past number of months, and there are countless flares in there in amongst what appears to be the Linfield supporters right now. And I suspect we're going to have a slight delay to this game until the smoke all subsides, because there are a huge number of them. And Rory Brown's making his way towards the goal, and he's just stopped, and referee coming across to have word with him. But it's a substantial amount of flares, and there have been a number of bans handed out and fines as well within local football for the use of them, and particularly on a surface like this, it can cause a lot of damage in a 4G surface. They're starting to extinguish themselves.
If they just hold them in their hands like that, is that still fine? You know, I get it if they throw it onto the pitch, but if they're just holding them up like that, I know it's a nuisance for us now. The game's delayed and things.
I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I certainly don't think I've ever seen as many in
I've never seen it like
in one
that.
space like that. But
you know, I'm not condoning it, but it did actually look quite good.
Matthew.
I know, I'm just saying.
There may be a disciplinary committee who may disagree with you, but
I'm sure there will be, you know. And we just hope that it clears quickly.
Well, it is very smoky up that area of the pitch, and you can just about see some of the supporters through that. There's probably the best angle to show what Rory Brown has set the experience in a few seconds. He's just on the edge of your shot there, and you can see the referee alongside him as well.
The possession and use of fireworks, flares, or smoke bombs is illegal, and anyone in possession will be removed from the ground.
Well, there you go, there's our answer.
Not resumed until all flares are extinguished.
There do appear to be another couple in there, and over the tannoy they have given out the public service announcement. Causing a delay in this game. If you're just joining us, it's scoreless between Coleraine and Linfield. The first half of very few opportunities, just the one real clear-cut chance. Darren McBreen's point-blank effort, saved by Rory Brown. I'm sure the fans who are winning this second half are a little bit frustrated. You can see in the far side David Healy having a word with the referee as well. It has been a considerable delay to this game at this point. David waiting patiently. Rory Brown just figuring out when he should make his way towards his goal. I'm just having a quick scan around. I don't think there have been any changes at half-time. Some of the players just trying to stay warm and having emerged from the dressing room, just jogging about, doing a few stretches as well. Referee is back over, speaking to his fourth official as the smoke drifts over the main stand here in Coleraine.
It was a very mild night, considering we're in the middle of February. It's a mild night. There's not much wind in the area either. To to take it away, it just seems to be hovering.
Yes, lingering about, and players all just now going through their different warm-up routines.
Reminds me of an old episode of Phoenix Nights.
Right. We've got to that point in the commentary, have we?
Well, just while we're waiting for this to clear now.
Rory Brown's made his way back. I think it's probably a good time, and before we
yeah, let's go before we start talking about old comedy shows.
I think we're back. There's a little bit of art from Jack McCutcheon on that camera as it drifts alongside the floodlight, but we are going to be underway in the next few seconds as Rory Brown is back in his goal. East. Across to Ethan McGee and Miller. I think you pointed out very early on how interchangeable those two players are on this right-hand side, covering for one another.
Yeah, I think it'll help Kirk, the signing of Ethan McGee, because he hasn't really had somebody there going back a couple of years, really, and his numbers are still sky high. But I think with that relationship will build up, because his movement is very good. He's intelligent. He knows when to tuck inside. And obviously, looking at Ethan McGee, he's making good runs. Look, you see it now already. Kirk's dropped inside and left acres of space. Obviously, they didn't capitalise there, but I think it'll bring. I was going to say it'll bring his game on even further. I don't know how much further Kirk Miller's game can go on.
Certainly, judging by the stats, his level of consistency, and he's a selfless player. Scored 7 goals already this season, but it's the assists and the crosses into the box that have caused havoc for many years in a Linfield shirt. Chris McKee has in the past been a grateful recipient of some of those Miller balls. Shevlin again, the touch was just a little bit heavy, and we mentioned still getting back to full match fitness, Matthew Shevlin.
Yeah, you know, he'd be disappointed because it's been off all night.
There's a pace of McBride. Cross is drifted across to Miller. McDonald heads it clear. McBride on the edge of the box. His first volley was blocked, and then it's hacked away by McKendry. You can hear the Linfield fans just feeling that their side are starting to turn the screw. McLean to Shields. McGee's cross blocked, and the visitors have started the second half in the front foot.
Yeah, certainly they've come out, haven't they? They've looked sharp, they're quick, and moving the ball. Seem to have more numbers already in support, you know, in the forward areas.
Miller. Another throw-in coming up. Away by Kelly, and then the battle is on between Shields and Shevlin. McBride finds another little pocket to charge into. Corner kick, Linfield.
He spins on a sixpence, doesn't he? He's ever so sharp, but in tight areas he's just quick and nimble and turns away from his marker, and obviously slipping Matthew Clark in again there.
Had that really good chance in the first half. McBride, and the numbers are forward here. East and Finlayson amongst them. Who's going to get there? It was Finlayson attempting to nip in, and the final touch was off the defender, even though he's protesting against that. A couple of minutes into the second half, and there's certainly been more intent from the visitors so far. The away supporters trying to make life difficult for Rory Brown. Shevlin to McKendry. Lifts it in towards McGonigal. Who's it going to fall to? Shields very comfortably takes it down and then clips it clear under real pressure. Certainly doesn't do panic.
I was going to say, he's not. He doesn't worry, does he?
No.
When he gets the ball, he's very composed and takes the sting out of things. Enables the defence to get out, you know, rather than just hacking at it clear anyway.
Yeah, he's been a brilliant addition to the Irish League in the last couple of seasons. Chris Shields won player of the year season before last. Here's Lyndon Kane. Spotted a little gap and then picks it up again. McGonigal trying to get it on his right foot, and Miller was well aware of that and blocked the effort on goal. Back in again. Scott challenging McLean, and away by Finlayson. McKendry. Oh, so close. Walsh was at full stretch. He wasn't going to get there, and it hit the woodwork from McKendry. No backlift at all. Outside of the left foot, and it cannons off the upright. Brilliant effort, isn't it?
Tremendous. You know, like you said, no backlift. It's just dropped to him, and he first thought, can I get this shot off? And you know, it was a little bit in front of him, so he's not even stepped into it. He's just kind of prodded his foot forward and tried to lift it over David Walsh, and he's ever so unlucky. It's just at the outside of the post.
Top scorer at the showgrounds this season. So both sides have had opportunities at the start of this second half. That was the better one. It's the closest we've come to a goal so far through Conor McKendry.
But it was good, patient build-up play that led to it. You know, Jamie Glacken stepped inside, played, waited for Lyndon Kane to join the attack, and then they set it up again. And you know, this is what they have to do. They've got ball carriers. They've got people that can carry the ball. And what they have to try and do is build up a sustained period of pressure in the Linfield defensive third.
East. Here's Finlayson. McLean across to Clark. Miller unable to get on the end of it. Good defending from Jarvis. Shields finds McGee. Now it's Linfield's turn to attack. Just over the head of Matthew Clark, I think it was. Some half-hearted appeals for a handball in there. Shields picks out McGee. Miller on the overlap. They're certainly asking the question with crosses into the box. Whatever the managers have said at half-time seems to have worked on both sides. A little bit of indecision between Walsh and East, and it's hacked away in the end after McGonigal tried to nip in between them. A little bit nervy at the back.
I think that comes, you know, from lack of game time together. What you find is, you know, with Chris playing so many games, it's something, you know, non-verbal communication. They kind of, you know, it's pretty much telepathic. You know that he's going to come or he's going to stay back there. David didn't know whether to...
I mentioned earlier, between the 75 games that Chris Johns has played, Finlayson and East have been, you know, I've missed only a handful of matches between them, so it's been so settled at the back. And obviously David Walsh is a very talented goalkeeper, but as you say, has lacked minutes on the pitch. You can't replicate that in training.
You certainly can't, no.
When something like that happens and you're the opposition, do you try and exploit it again? Do you ask the question again, maybe? You mentioned about firing a couple of crosses on top of them.
Yeah, get, you know, little balls in behind, get them turned, you know, certainly down the middle of the pitch. Give them something to think about.
Darren McBride has certainly asked questions at the back for the visitors. McLean, really good strength to squeeze it across that left-hand side. Both teams almost just playing on a counter-attack.
Yeah.
It's like basketball, because it's a case of, right, you come, you lose possession, we'll have a go at you, and the numbers are starting to scurry back. It's a very odd game so far, but Miller's found space in his near side. Brown holds on to it as he tried to play it in towards McLean on the edge of the 6-yard box.
I'd say David Healy will be cracking up at Chris McKee for peeling to the back post there. Always make you run across, you know, across the goalkeeper. I know Kyle McLean's trying to get the, but he's running from deeper. Chris McKee should be getting across there and leaving the back post space for Kyle McLean to run in behind him.
I remember having a conversation with David Healy a couple of years ago, and I think it was Niall Quinn actually who'd scored a header at the near post and somebody else had, and he said it was one thing that he found wasn't really a tactic used by Irish league clubs, and it really frustrated him as a striker. Nobody making that run towards the near post. And 100%. He said he was drilling it into his players time after time. If you make that run, you will reap the reward. And if you don't reap the reward of making that run, the guy behind you will. 100%.
It's something, you know, that I would have drilled into strikers, midfield runners all the time, because it's easy pickings. You know, if you're getting the ball there, you're taking the goalkeeper's eye off the ball, number one. If you run across him as a centre forward, if you don't get a touch in it, somebody else will get in behind you.
Well, here's McLean, and the referee's gonna bring play back. And you said that David Healy was annoyed a moment ago. He's out of his technical area now, and Chris McKee tried to take the quick throw in, thinking he had won a throw in. Coleraine were all over the place at the back, and then the referee decided to blow it up and instead award the throw in to Coleraine. So you can see what happens here. So Steve McDonald's down on the ground, slowly making his way up, and Linfield had a player inside there as well as McLean before the whistle sounded. Cue David Healy.
Look, I don't know if it was Colerane's ball or Linfield's ball. What surprised me, it took so long for the referee and the assistant referee, the linesman, to make that decision.
I think that may well be the point that David is making right now.
I'm sure he was as polite as me explaining it as well.
Nothing comes of it in the end, though. And we've probably had more energy from both sides in the opening 11 minutes of the second half as the entirety of the first. Shevlin wrestling with Finlayson. Decision goes the way of Linfield and the defender.
Yeah, I think if it was the other way around, Matthew would be expecting a red card, wouldn't he? You know,
Yeah.
he's on the wrong side of the centre half and he's pulled him down with him. So, you know, I don't think he's any complaints there.
It's a really youthful looking Linfield bench. Matthew Fitzpatrick, Dane McCullough, Reece Annette, Joshua Archer, Aidan Doherty and Braden Graham on there.
And young Jack Wilkins, the goalkeeper as well.
Just for clarification, it's my understanding it's a crime to even be in possession of a flare at a game in regard to Irish Football Association rules. So interesting to see how they view what went on at the end of the half-time break and the start of the second half. A number of flares on show.
There must have been at least a dozen.
The game delayed by a considerable amount. A lot of clubs this year have been fined for various incidents in that regard. McGee. And now Mulgrew finds Ewan East. Back to McBrien. So many bodies in the middle. Coleraine has suddenly find themselves very deep. Mulgrew cuts it back looking for Clark. Doesn't work out and it's got a little bit scrappy. Coleraine has had to be careful here that they don't commit any fouls in that area, and when the ball was bouncing about in the end they managed to do so and it's out for a throw-in, but it's taken very quickly. Mulgrew. Back to McLean. He tries to find McKee, and it's Shields who fouls Shevlin, and that's going to just alleviate a little bit of pressure from Colerane's standpoint. They were pinned back in their own final third, Coleraine there. Strange passage of the game as we approach the hour mark.
You know, Coleraine now want to take the sting out of it. You know, Chris Shields, we think that he stopped a promising counter-attack, but I think they would have probably regained the possession as well, and because they had them camped in for ever so long.
Poor touch from Jarvis, but he managed to recover, and it's going to be a free kick for Coleraine and may well be a yellow card for Chris McKee.
I think it's for kicking the ball against the wall, wasn't it? You know, rather than possibly for the pull, but his reaction after giving it away, he's frustrated and he, you know, he kicks the ball away here. You'll see on the camera. And one thing the referees, they don't like that, to show petulance.
Shields takes a tumble. Free kick goes the other way this time. A little bit bitty. Here's East. Clark. McLean. He's made that run time after time.
You know, that was a great late run. You know, he's arrived perfect time, and it's a good delivery into the box, and he's made a tremendous run off the back of Jack Scott there. Good connection on it. He's unlucky. You know, I'm looking at the game now, and I'm thinking, is David, you know, in terms of David Healy, thinking possibly getting Matthew Fitzpatrick or another striker up alongside Chris McKee, because you know, he's ploughing, he's doing a lot of work, but he's not really getting a lot of joy at the two centre halves. With the way that Coleraine are playing the 4-4-2, he could pretty much match them up. You know, Cal McLean's got the energy to get up and down the pitch, and yes, you would be sacrificing one of Jamie or Chris Shields, but certainly think it would be something I would be thinking of, you know, going into the last half an hour of this game. Do
you feel like they need that little switch?
I think so. Look, they've started off the half. No, they have started off the half well. I just feel, you know, for occasions like that, the ball's gone up to Chris. He'll get frustrated in the end. We've already seen it. You know, he's just been booked. I think a little bit of help alongside him will be good. You know, Kyle can only make so many forward runs. Kyle McLean, I'm talking about here, from the middle of the pitch. Sometimes two strikers up there, you know, gives them something more to think about.
And what will Oran be thinking?
Pretty much keeping it as it is. And
you take a point, you think?
I think so, yeah. I honestly do. I know people think that's a negative way to look at it. They're at home, but we have to be realistic. They've not been on a great run. And
a clean sheet as well. That would possibly be even more important.
I would say that would be the biggest positive. You know, as managers, you're always looking for a clean sheet because it's a platform for you to build on, and anything can happen. You could get a set piece, something could happen, you know, late on in the game.
Well, they've gone closest this evening through that Conor McKendry effort just after half-time. He was really unfortunate to see it hit the upright. There's like a mini battle going on between Coleraine, Loughgall, Carrick Rangers, Glenavon and Dungannon for that top 6 place.
Dungannon have just crept up there, haven't they? Because there was a period, I think
there's 4 or 5 points between all those clubs.
Yep.
Just to run down to the games tomorrow: Ballymena United taking on Larne, Carrick Rangers against Dungannon Swifts, Cliftonville welcome Glenavon, Glentoran, Newry City and Loughgall against Crusaders. Coleraine have to just be careful here. They don't get too deep, because it was certainly very obvious in that last Linfield attack, and even more so here. McLean. McKee trying to get away from Kelly. Shields. Still Shields. Breaks for Stephen Lowry. It was 3-on-3 momentarily. Linfield body starting to flood back, and Shevlin. Can he get there? He can, but can't squeeze it in. Won the foot race against Finlayson. It left Walsh stranded, but from Colerane's point of view, it went the wrong side of the upright, but credit to the goalkeeper, actually. It's a really good stop, because it took a touch. Initially, I didn't think it had, but that's a really good save from David Walsh. Had to be, or else his side were one down. So the 2 best chances of this game have fallen to Coleraine in this second half. Corner kick, Shevlin. 3rd time lucky for Coleraine. It's Shevlin, denied a moment ago, but he was given far too much time and space in the corner kick. Not at home. Back on the score sheet, and Coleraine are in front. And you have to say, in the balance of chances, they deserve it.
Obviously, he was unlucky with the other one. It's a great run. It's something that kind of been speaking about all night. With that willing run to run beyond, that's how Matthew wants to play. He doesn't really want to be getting involved in the hold-up play and doing that stuff. He was really unlucky then. He could have been disappointed, but obviously he's kept his eye on it all the way. I actually thought the corner was overhit. I don't understand why David Walsh has come off his line there. He was getting so many bodies to get through, never getting there, way beyond the back post. And Matthew was there, and, you know, free header really into an open goal. And he'll be delighted with that because, you know, I think he's looked a frustrated
So
figure.
reaction. What do you think of the reaction from Clacken?
Well, he's happy, I'm guessing. You know, arms folded, and he's probably thinking that's as easy as, you know, what more do you want me to do? But it should set up for an exciting little period there. You know, you asked me 2 or 3 minutes ago, what would Coleraine do? Are they happy? Yes, because, you know, I still think that they're a threat on the counter-attack and they might get a set piece, and lo and behold, that's what's happened. Now they've got something to cling on to, and, you know...
And what will Linfield be thinking, given the fact that they've had the bulk of possession, they've had a lot of the ball in the final third without really making anything happen, but you look at the chances, the big ones have fallen to Coleraine. They've hit the upright,
the post.
You know, that brilliant save from Walsh, and then the goal comes.
You know, that shoots them down. So again, Linfield, we get, obviously frustration will creep in because they think we've all this ball, but we're not actually, you know, we're not really creating anything. And you said there, you know, Coleraine didn't want to get too deep. I actually think it was suiting Coleraine. They were very compacted, you know, a lot of bodies in and around the ball, right? So that then was forcing Linfield to sling crosses in. All right, here we go again.
McGonigal looking to link up with Shevlin. Does it come back to the point you were making in the first half, that with those two players up front, Shevlin and McGonigal, who do want the ball in behind it, it's sometimes when you're playing the counter-attack, you're at your best?
Yes, because then they can sit, and certainly with the players that can travel with the ball in Conor McKendry, Jamie Glacken, they're full of energy, they can get up and down the pitch. You know, Jack Scott has got legs and energy, you know, predominantly, as I say, a fullback or a wider player, but in the middle of the pitch, he's unable to get himself forward, and it suits them because they look very, you know, they're looking very organised. And see, when you've just scored, you always look a lot better. The game plan's working now, so when, you know, instead of thinking, are we too deep sitting here?
That's a poor tackle from Finlayson. I think he's going to be booked for that one.
Yeah, if we talked about it in the first half with O'Donnell, you know, yes, he wins the ball, but his follow-through catches him.
And I've just had a glance across to the Linfield bench, and they're preparing a triple substitution, I think. They're going to completely mix things up now. Who will make way?
I can't see from here who that is. Is it Reece Annette? And
I think Reece Annette, Matthew Fitzpatrick as well. We're a long way away, and I must admit, I can't get my head around these red Linfield shirts. Normally I'm okay with player identification, but
I'm blaming Mark Sidebottom for my lack of eyesight. not the years creeping up on me.
Well, we'll find out soon, because there's going to be a huge board that Gary Eccles is going to give the information to. I mentioned it was his birthday yesterday, the long-standing kit man at Linfield. There we go. Matthew Fitzpatrick is the first one. Aidan Doherty and Reece Annette. Clark, Finlayson and McBride. What do you make of that?
Well, they'll go to a back three. Chris Shields, you know, he can naturally slot inside there. Kirk Miller will go one side as a wing back.
Oh, sorry. Yeah,
they were going over to get information.
They were going over to get information, because I was trying to figure out as well what was going to happen. But across comes Jamie McGrew, and yeah, there is going to be a little bit of a rejig, but not quite as seismic a one as we previously thought. I wonder will that just disrupt the Coleraine momentum. McKendry. Well headed clear by Finlayson, and it's Aidan Doherty who lashes it forward. A player very highly rated at Windsor Park. He's got his opportunity this year, 17. Actually made a start against Coleraine back in September, and you can see what Oran Kearney wants. Keep it tight, keep it compact. Keep it up, I think, is the message from the manager. Ewan East. McLean. Just a reminder that in Linfield's last 2 games, they've taken just 1 point from a possible 6, and they were leading in both of those matches. They're going to have to come from behind this evening. Plenty of time, though, for David Healy's side. You mentioned Coleraine struggles. They are 22 points worse off than they were at the same stage last season. But if they can force their way into the top 6 or into the European places and gather a little bit of momentum, nobody will fancy them in the playoffs if they're to make it, given the quality that they have in their squad.
Definitely not. You know, that's what they'll be looking.
It's a little bit like the playoffs, the championship. How often has it been the side who's just managed to squeeze in the last day that ends up in the Premier League? Long way to go, though, in the season, a long way to go this evening. McGee finds Finlayson. Cliftonville and Lauren have had to dig deep in recent weeks. Linfield are being asked questions tonight. Lovely bit of skill initially to get away from his man from Doherty. He then felt he was caught by McKenry with the next challenge as Shields flies in. Miller plays it early. And it falls for McKee, who just snatched at it a little bit. Don't think he expected that opportunity to fall to him, and you can see from his reaction what he felt.
I think it was Stephen Lowry's tried to bring the ball under control. It's his first game in an awful long time. He's put a tremendous amount of work in there. The last 15 minutes, this is when mistakes start happening. But Oren will be looking at the other side saying, we need his composure, we need his calmness. But his legs might be telling him something different out there, Stephen. He probably needs a breather here because it's been, this second half's been helter-skelter, really.
Shefflin showed too much of it to McGee. Yeah, big figure in the dressing room and on the pitch, Stephen Lowry, and say he's been starved of starts this season. He's had a few substitute appearances in recent weeks, but back in the lineup, and I'm sure it's a very reassuring figure for Oren Kearney and the Coleraine supporters to build a midfield around.
He's a player, even as a player, I looked at him and you always felt the opposition were better with him in the team. Composed on the ball, picks up good positions, certainly defensively as well. Certainly, prime example there, just wins it back.
Kick starts this attack. Keane plays it in. Another chance for McGonigal off the line.
He's given it, the linesman's given it.
Or has it? The goal has been given for McGonigal. It's 3-3 for the new signing. And things go from bad to worse for Linfield. Chris McKee is adamant that it did not cross the line. He's walked over to the assistant. The goalkeeper also having a word with the referee, but it has been given. It was given straight away, and it's that man McGonigal. It's 100th goal in Irish League football. He reacted first when he got a second bite at the cherry, and
what I will say, the linesman was right on the line and he was quick with the flag, because it was my first thought to look, but I'm not convinced that's over the line. Look, I'm not saying we have a great angle from here. He was certainly at a better angle than us, but
the Coleraine supporters are asking, did it cross the line? I don't think they care if it crossed the line or not.
They definitely don't. They're more looking towards us and what's going on the pitch. But at the end of the day, he's given it. There's no VAR in the Irish League. That's one of the great things. People, it will come in eventually. There's no doubt about that. But that is, for supporters, that's one of the things. Once that referee's blown the whistle, linesman's flag, they're often celebrating. Like you said, they don't care if it's over the line or not now.
I always go by player reaction, and Chris Shields was up straight away saying no. Now, every player is going to act that way, but
human reaction.
It wasn't as if McGonigal celebrated first of all.
No.
And Walsh and Chris Shields are straight to the assistant and the referee, so it's inconclusive from our angle, but Coleraine are 2 up.
What I would always say, human reaction, right, is natural. If Chris Shields thinks that's crossed the line, his first reaction would be to look at the linesman. He didn't. He cleared it, and he was getting out of the box.
But then, as you say, the assistant had his flag up straight away.
Yep.
He was adamant. Doherty.
You know, that you can look at everything, can't you, in numerous ways, right? Decisive, brilliant. He should have took a split second longer to think, did it cross the line or not? You know, whichever way he does it, look, he's made his decision. He's got to get on with it. And Linfield now have to, you know, they have to have a go. But Coleraine will be delighted here. And
Joel will end up having a box set of that series with Mike Riley
every week.
He thinks it's 2-parter. Let's have another look at it.
I'm looking, right, Chris Shields has cleared it. He stood on the line, and when he's cleared it, it's not like his foot's behind the line, you know, and he took a swing at it. He side-footed it when he side on the goal line. That's what makes me doubt that it was over the line. But it's given. It makes no difference what we think. We can only offer our opinion up here to try and entertain the viewers at home. But at the end of the day, it's there. And now, them Coleraine players that we were chatting about, Stephen Larry, is he a little bit leggy after miss kicking a clearance here that gives Linfield an opportunity? You've got to keep him on because he wins the ball back 25 yards from goal and sets up resets the attack for Coleraine. When you're 2-0 up, you don't feel as tired as 2-0 down, certainly, or, you know, 1-0 and you're thinking maybe need to get legs onto.
And we've spoken a lot about the run that Coleraine have been on. This could kickstart their season. This could change the complexion of that. The next couple of months, a result like this after all the adversity and all the injuries and everything that they've been through, whether it was the directors giving out a voice in their support for Oran Kearney here, and a lot of the criticism that happened as well. So there's a new owner now here, so there are plenty of storylines, of course, at the showgrounds, but it's on the pitch and the results that really matter. And
we all understand, you know, that results are the most important thing, right? But what I would be looking at, and I've seen Coleraine a couple of times, and certainly tonight, as an outsider looking in, these players look like they're together. They've worked ever so hard over the 78 minutes. They're obviously going to want to keep this up for another 15, possibly more. But they look like they're a group together that's working for her. And look, results, these things happen. There's numerous reasons, mistakes, individual mistakes, things, bobbles, whatever you want to call it, you know, being unlucky with injuries. But tonight, they've looked like they've come with a good game plan. They're working ever so hard for each other. They're putting their bodies on the line, and they've scored 2 goals. So, you know, from that point of view, Oran will be stood over there. You know, he'll be praying for the final whistle, no doubt. But he'll be delighted with this performance so far.
11 minutes for Linfield to find at least 2 goals. And if you're David Healy or Linfield supporter, you'll be really frustrated at the lack of goal-scoring opportunities. I mean, the McBride chance, apart from that, Rory Brown hasn't a save to make.
No. Substitution came on there, didn't it? But I didn't see who came on for. Jamie Glackin went off, but I couldn't see who came on.
It was Aaron Jarvis. Fitzpatrick. Decision goes against Matthew Fitzpatrick. Had a short spell here at the showgrounds. It was where he started his Irish League career a couple of seasons ago. Played a handful of games for Coleraine under Oran Kearney. Scored 1 goal as well in the process before switching then to Glenavon, and after that to Linfield, of course. I mentioned that staggering statistic that you have to go back 3 years since the last time Linfield didn't manage a win over a 3-game spell. It's very much looking like that is going to be the case this evening after the defeat against Dungannon Swifts in the league, followed up by the late draw against Glenavon. It was a goal deep in injury time in that game, and then 2 down here with 9 to go. Linfield need a spark. They need something to happen. And so far, it hasn't looked like happening.
And I think it's been an awful lot of that. Certainly with Chris McKee earlier, the strikers are making runs away from goal, you know, more than in. And well, the areas. Look at Matthew Shevlin, that led to the corner, running through on goal. Jamie McGonigal the same, getting through. Yes, it was a great block, but he's up and reacted in the width of the goalpost. That's where you want to be as a centre forward.
And is that confidence, or what is that? Because it's not like Fitzpatrick and McKee don't know how to score goals.
No,
they're top players.
Certainly. You know, you shouldn't lose confidence just from 2 results in the last 2 weeks. The right runs are still the right runs. Doesn't matter where you are, and the proof's in the pudding, I suppose, because the Coleraine strikers are making them runs after so many games without a win. So I don't understand, why they are making them runs. Sometimes you're better off not running and holding your position in the middle of the box to give somebody a target to hit.
And Coleraine have targets to hit right now. O'Donnell. Jarvis is up. Kelly's the furthest Coleraine player back, but it's McHenry standing over the ball. Towards that near post, and it's a third. And that looks like it's going to be all 3 points wrapped up. I don't think it took a touch from Jarvis. McHenry's claiming it on his 100th appearance. He finds the net denied a little bit earlier. Jarvis is very honest in saying, I didn't get a touch.
I think there's about 3 of them that said they did get a touch, though.
But it's 3 for Coleraine. And 3 points you would expect coming to the showground as the Linfield supporters start to make their way towards the exit. It just hasn't happened for them tonight.
It's a great delivery in the box, isn't it? Whether somebody's touched it or not, we can't really tell. But it just shows the quality of the ball, that nobody needed to touch it, and it's just...
And again, it's that near post run.
Yeah, somebody's made a run across.
It's asking the question. It's going to be some game on Tuesday night between Linfield and Cliftonville. Golden opportunity for Larnon and Cliftonville tomorrow to go above Linfield in the table. What a change that would be over the course of 48 hours. I suspect there's going to be a title race full of twists and turns.
As you said earlier, though, this season there hasn't been many slip-ups from the top 3. You were thinking 2 weeks ago, is anybody going to blink? This is going to go right the way they were. Now Linfield, 3 games.
I think Cliftonville haven't lost in something like, Brown comes over the top and claims it. I think Chris McKee was in the receiving end, but I think I was interviewing Jim Magilton before the Glentoran game, and they won, 12 out of 13, and the only points that they dropped were against Glentoran and hadn't made any headway. Yeah. Which says it all about just how good Linfield have been and how good Larne have been.
Well, I think Linfield, after they were beaten against Glentoran, beat them, didn't they? They give them a real beat, and I think they won 11 in a row as well, and Larne were the same, and that was what I was talking about. Nobody's going to blink here, and it's going to go all the way. And you certainly, if you were Linfield and you looked at the 3 games, this run of games leading up to the split, obviously, which is down the line, Dungannon at home, they would be banking on 3 points. Away to Glenavon last week, scored after 2 minutes, scored in the 89th minute, 2-1 up. Game should be seen out, and then they're coming up here against the Coleraine team. Look, it's going to be tough always. Coleraine are a good team. They've been on a poor run. Now they'll be looking, dear me, we're desperate. We've now got to go to Cliftonville to try and get 3 points back to stay in touch, because if Larne win tomorrow away at Ballymena, they're 4 points clear.
Yeah, just set up for a great finale to the league campaign.
Braden Graham's coming on here now.
Yeah, young Braden Graham, so much expected of him. Seems that Everton have won the race to sign the the young striker who made his Linfield debut at the age of just 15.
You know, and look, obviously, you want to be bringing him on in a game when you're 3-0 up and giving him opportunity rather than asking to save or try and pull some magic out of it, you know, in the last few minutes. But seeing Aidan Doherty coming on, and you know, I know Reece Nett obviously came from Dundela, but Linfield are producing these young players, you know, and I must, as much as it'll pain me to say it, Michael Galt's doing a brilliant job, you know.
Kate O'Neill's another one who Arsenal are tipped to win the race to sign him, and you know, year after year, they seem to be producing a player who isn't necessarily just going into an English club. They're going into a tier 1 or a very good English club. And,
top
and again,
clubs.
if we're crediting people, and Andrew Waterworth and the academy
Certainly, but
needs to take a lot of that too, because it seems from the outside looking in that there's a more rounded player going across England now than maybe there previously had been in years gone by.
You know, I think it's credit to all. The clubs are feeding, you know, they're feeding into the JD Academy. So the clubs first and foremost are getting the credit, and obviously then they'll get the financial rewards down the line when the players are sold. But the fact they're getting, you know, they're getting a pretty much full-time training. So when they get over there, they're getting the top clubs, and clubs now are looking and willing to spend the money to bring them because players are going over there and are being successful.
Well, it looks like Braden Graham is heading to Goodison. It's not going to be Goodison for long, but he's heading there anyway. A really exciting player. Scored so many goals for the Swifts this season as well. He's been really prolific and scored that goal against Larne, and then the composure to slot home the penalty in the shootout. He's someone who has been mentioned for a couple of years now. Here he is on the ball.
I've seen him a couple of times, and obviously being an ex-striker, I just love strikers that just want to score goals. You know, all the rest of it comes, and he will obviously get that as he gets older and stuff. But first and foremost, at the age group levels he's playing, he just loves coming off the pitch, having scored numerous amounts of goals, and that's brilliant for him. And we've obviously given him the kiss of death there.
Yeah, there's the commentator's curse right there, but I suppose it's maybe symptomatic of Linfield's night so far here in the North Coast. Conor McKendry makes his way across, and on comes Andy Scott.
I think no surprise that the two substitutions Coleraine have made have been the wide players because of the effort they've had to put in, doubling back and also playing, you know, using that energy, the legs to get up in support on the counter-attack, certainly for the first hour of the game anyway.
New ownership, big night for the club, big crowd on a Friday night, and it looks like it's going to be a big win for Oran Kearney's side.
And you know, I know there's been plenty of chat about the Friday night games and full-time teams getting the advantage. Well, it might not help the part-time teams, this result, because people might start saying, well, hang on a minute, you know, it's a tremendous result for Coleraine, who are a part-time team still.
Here's Lynch. Just while we're mentioning Leicester Academy, Jimmy Gilton also needs to get a lot of credit. When you look at maybe the Premier League this weekend, you're going to have the likes of Conor Bradley coming through. Shea Charles obviously has made the move to Southampton, and Ross McConnell's closing starting for Rangers. So that it's been a process in a number of years that is starting to reap the rewards now.
When they set it up as Club and I, probably 10 years ago, you know, and they are now starting to reap the rewards of it. And I think people looked at it then I remember when it first started in the programme, and people may be expecting results there and then, but these things take time. You know, everything in football takes time. Nothing can be developed overnight. You know, these children were in for 5 years prior to moving over, and then it takes 3 or 4 years to get established in Premier League. You know, we're talking Conor Bradley, Liverpool, one of the top teams in Europe, never mind, you know, in the English league. So, and it's been brilliant seeing him do that. He's a brilliant young fella and obviously a tremendous player.
This game's petering out a little bit. You can see that Oran Kearney's players trying to keep the ball in that corner of the pitch. The fans are loving it.
Oran's delighted over there. He hopes that it peters out for the next 4 minutes.
Yeah,
in that corner.
He's been through a lot in the last couple of months, Oran Kearney, and you can see that the Linfield supporters, majority of them have now left the ground.
And the Coleraine FC man of the match this evening, number 17, Jimmy Blackett.
So Glacken, on his 200th appearance on his birthday, gets the man of the match from Colerane's point of view, but there have been a number of outstanding performances out there. 3 up, a vital win on a night of frustration for Linfield. Just free kick after free kick. Frustration starting to kick in for Linfield. It hasn't been their night. Scoreless at the break. They had the best opportunity of the first half, of course. But in the second half, it was, first of all, McKendry who hit the post, and then things went from bad to worse from Linfield's point of view as the goal started to go in. The first from Shevlin, the second from McGonigal, and the third, we think, from McKendry. And David Healy cuts a frustrated figure.
I know Jamie Glacken won man of the match there, but you know, if you were coming to me, I'd be looking probably more towards Stephen Lowry or even Stephen O'Donnell at the back. I just think their experience and their composure's helped them through the game, and I think Stephen Lowry's been super. You know, he gets his foot on the ball. We'll forgive him his blemish on the outside of his own box where he miskicked it, because then he got himself up the field, and I was probably doing him a disservice when I was thinking, you know, was he going to last the 90 minutes? Because he's pretty much strolled through the last 20 minutes.
Here he is on the ball. Lynch trying to nip in, and in times of adversity, when things aren't going your way, it's the spine of your team, those central figures, can prove to be key. Is that another thing that they've missed when guys like that have been out?
You can't buy experience, as they say, you know, and I think if you're looking the two most experienced players probably in the squad, and if you're missing them, there's no two ways. How do you replace that? Yes, that they've got. Look, I think Coleraine have got a good squad anyway, but when you're missing them players, they're the ones that calm things down. They're the ones that kind of get the togetherness. You know, Josh Carson's another player who's missing. You know, I'm sure they'll be delighted to welcome him back as soon as possible.
Here is Shields with the captain's armband on now. We played almost a lot of 5 minutes of injury time. On a night to celebrate for Coleraine. 3 second-half goals. Secures a big victory for Oran Kearney's side into the top 6. Linfield without a victory in 3 games. And across comes Luca to give his dad a hug. Coleraine were well worth it, Matthew.
Without a doubt, yeah. Very even first half, wasn't it? It was a game of very few chances. Yes, Linfield had the better chance in the first half, but Coleraine were well in it. Linfield came out and started super, I thought, the first 4 or 5 minutes. Conor McKendry hit the shot off the post, and then the game seemed to turn. We spoke about it, you know, the counter-attack would be the best way. Matthew Shevlin, let's be honest, was poor enough up to his goal. His hold-up play wasn't quite there. His touch was off, but you know, he's made a great run through and got, you know, David Walsh made a tremendous save. David Walsh has made a mistake in my eyes for the goal. He's trying to come for the corner. There was never getting their free header, and then after that, Coleraine were in total control. It wasn't like they were backs to the wall and playing the counter-attack then. The game went the other way. They controlled the game for the last 20-25 minutes, and they're well worthy of it. And you know, it's good to see for Oran, because he has been under pressure, and whichever way you look at it, when you're losing, as a manager, all you can try and do is chop and change the team, and you're just hoping that one, the board will stay with you, the fans will stay with you, because he has brought success to this football club over the years. Yes, he had a little time away at St Mirren, but he came back and he's brought them success, brought players through, and now you want to see him kick on for the rest of this season and further forward with the new investors that have come in.
Calm down. Yo, this your body, it puts in my heart for lockdown, oh lockdown. Yo, you sweet life, phantom. If I tell you say I love you, no day for me, young girl, oh young girl. No tell me no, oh, 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 oh. Baby, gon' give me your lo, oh, 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 oh. You got me like gon' give me your lo. I see this fine girl from my party, she wear yellow. Every other girl they do too much, but this girl mellow. Now in my divine situation, I go use they tell I'm mellow. Finally I find way to talk to the girl, but she ain't no one follow. Who you gonna phone for one? When you know I come for one, then I start to feel a bum one. She dey give me small one. I know, say she sabi pass it down one. But she feeling insecure, cause her friends